YouTube, Mike here, Desirous Prime, back for another Breaking Gamefabe video. Probably the way I'm going to do these is maybe 3 times per game month. I'll do one after the pay-per-views, one midway during the game month, between April week 2 and week 3, for example, and then another one just before the pay-per-views. Just so you know what's going on, for those 3 of you who are subscribed. Yes, I have a new subscriber, thank you, welcome, and all that usual stuff. Yeah, so that's where it's going to go, because I don't put the TV show results, the weekly show results, I don't film them much. I know I just have done, but they're all, the results are all on my Facebook, but I'm here on YouTube just to like quick recaps, fill you in and stuff. I had a bit of a problem when I was filming Heatwave, the first episode, because the patch seemed to undo itself a bit. It basically, props that were supposed to be disabled in entrances were showing up again, and Justin Roberts was muddling up the announced names during a tag team match. So, instead of, like, for example, I have to use Dark Savior as mine because there's no Desirous on there, and it'd be like, the Savior, where it says it both at the same time. I managed to download a patch that sorted that out. I don't know if the patch is still available and automatically downloaded if the other one, if it messes up, but it's sorted now. But I'm wary in case it happens again anytime soon. So yeah, premiere Heatwave episode was so we start off with the Paul Haynes and Roscoe Quinn confrontation at the beginning, which I thought was pretty cool. I wrote that in as a way to re-establish some of the guys that had been left off the Uprising card in favour of the UWA Championship match. I did say there'd be repercussions. Paul Haynes basically confronting Roscoe, saying, look, you chose UWA guys instead of the faithful RCW guys that have been here from the beginning. And Roscoe didn't take too kindly to that. I said before, I think, in an earlier video, that I was trying to play it so you can see both sides. Scorpion and Griffin Abels, basically, they knew Boshak and Flash a lot better because they'd worked with them in UWA, and that's why Roscoe chose them. So bit of an advantage there. But on Paul's side is a 2-time Intercontinental Champion, Gary Gibbs, an former Intercontinental Champion, Scott's and Megastars, Tag Team Champions, Martin Corby's an Intercontinental Champion. All those guys left off the card. Wong McDonald's a Hardcore Champion, left off the card. And and then there was the UWA title match, which it's going to play out for a while. Getting to the match is myself and Draga-san defeated Scorpion and Griffin Abels. I think the match could have been a bit quicker actually, but was trying to we didn't want it to be too one-sided. Bit of an office scene where Roscoe Quinn tells Ross Lee and Sean O'Savary that they'd be facing off against Wilf and Steinmetz. Roscoe tells O'Savary he's getting a new belt. That's the undisputed belt, because too many people are using the Attitude belt that I know that fall into our sort of universe sort of thing. Then Boshak and Flash come in, and Flash with a more positive attitude, Boshak still being the same Boshak basically, and they lost to the Two Dirty Bitches after being given an opportunity to earn a tag team title shot. And then we go to CW Longley defeating Combat Matt. Not a bad AI match. It was there that I realised that the patch was really starting to cause problems, or the lack of patch, or whatever. It wasn't a bad match. It was a good, decent length. So what I tend to do with these shows is I tend to put an angle in between each match, just to break it up a little bit. And then Paul Haynes defeating Tyler Harris. He was right, he beat him at the first uprising. Harris issued an open challenge, Haynes answered and won. And he beat him again here tonight. And then the new World Tag Team Champions, Steinmetz and Wilf, defeated the new Intercontinental Champion Ross Lee and the new RCW Champion Sean O'Savory. That was a Rough Riders reunion of sorts. They were all together last game year as the Rough Riders until Wilf went darkside. And Steinmetz followed him. And then we come to RCWA, which featured the debuts of Nick Blueberry, who defeated Lance Anderson. Dwayne Huntley defeated Robin Jacks, who was making his debut. Robinson Lassiter beat Jay Cassidy. And then Jez Clark beat the RCWA champion, TJ Gospel. If you watch the RCWA title match from the pre-uprising show, it wasn't much. It didn't impress me. I was playing, and like I said, I was trying to give Rex an opening, and eventually it just got to the point where enough was enough. Jez Clark could now be the dominant heel in RCWA. It's starting to look that way anyway. I had to replay that match because there was a glitch where his finisher, he's got a top rope, a corner finisher. It's basically a razor's edge off the top. It just sunk into the ring and did that, so I replayed that match. And just did the basic ground finisher. Falls Count Anywhere match for the RCWA Television Championship. Brad Taylor defeated Chris Partridge. It was supposed to be Taylor against Partridge singles at the Uprising pre-show, but Cassidy decided to invoke his rematch clause, and bam, it was a triple threat there. After this match, Jay Cassidy attacked Brad Taylor, laying him out with his belt. And that's how RCWA ended. And then we go back to RCW and Renegades. It's really giving everyone TV time this week. With 3 shows running, I was able to. The Scott brothers defeated the Megastars. That's Jared and Landon Scott against Richard Parrish and Omega. Those 2 teams were the finalists in the World Tag Team Championship tournament last year to crown the first World Tag Team Championships. In that match, Richard Parrish and Omega won. And Boshak, with Robbie Flash in his corner after a little confrontation, defeated Martin Corby. And Flash didn't do anything naughty or anything, he just did that. And then we come to Paul Haynes and Gary Gibb backstage prior to their match with Griffin Abels and Scorpion. And they are approached by yours truly, Desaris and Wilf. And Desaris basically being a bit cryptic, saying he believes what Paul Haynes believes, that they should be in a better position than they were before Uprising and at Uprising, and that they should be being built more. And then Desaris basically says, wait till Revolution. Gibbs and Haynes, they won their match, and that sets them in good stead. And then we come to Revolution, the Friday night show, and we have a segment in the parking lot with Wong McDonald and Paul Haynes. Wong McDonald basically saying he too is on side with Paul Haynes. Wong McDonald then lost to Christian Fox. The match was okay. It was a decent opener. It wasn't breathtaking, but it wasn't a disappointment either. And then Hardcore Howie defeated Betty. Betty is, of course, based on the Kung Pao character, if you've seen Kung Pao. And it was just something we was looking for, just put him on there for a laugh. We was looking for an entrance. Hulk Hogan's entrance came up, and then the whole Betty Mania thing started. Crazy. He lost to Hardcore Howie. That was a better match than Fox Wong match, I think. Prior to that match, Combat Matt was told that he would get a chance to face Desaris at Anarchy if he won a Triple Threat Falls Count Anywhere match against Brent Kitching and Arnie Sharp. Now, I usually do Triple Threats and Fatal 4-Ways elimination style, but because of the way WWE 12 is, elimination matches mean that basically when someone's gone, you can't leave the ring without the camera panning to the stage, and then you're screwed. You don't know what you're doing. and then even if everyone's in the ring, the camera will still stay on stage for a stupid amount of time. So this match was being filmed, so I basically stuck it as a normal 1 fall to a finish triple threat match, and that was tough. I played that match as Combat Matt, and it was awkward. I'm not a fan of the breaking moves thing. It's just, in tag team matches, fair enough. In handicap matches, yeah, but not in a match where it's every man for himself. If someone's about to do a move on someone else, then you don't stop them, you let them do it. Especially when it's three faces. And it's too much, too stupid to break up all these moves and shit. It just did my nut in. And then the Blood Brothers, the Steinmetz and Wolf Blood Brothers, defeated Jared and Landon Scott. And then the main event of that, which came afterwards, just before the Blood Brothers defeated the Scots, Paul Haynes wanted answers. He got them before the main event, where myself and Roscoe had a confrontation. Roscoe basically naming Scorpion and Griffin Abels in a #1 contender match at Anarchy to determine the RCW champion's opponent at Bloodshed. And, you know, why Scorpion and Griffin Abels? Because they helped him? Again, it's one of those things where you try and see both sides. Roscoe has a loyalty to Scorpion and Griffin, but he shouldn't just be completely biased towards them. And so basically, I mentioned it. Story behind that is when I came up with the company, I didn't want to place myself as the owner, but I thought if I make myself like a minority owner, like 35%, like I am, then it would be more acceptable. You know, I had a decent run in UWA champion a few times. I'd have accumulated a fair amount of money from that. So it was basically, when I came in, it was me trying to help a young company on the go. But now, you know, I kind of feel tweenerish in this respect, because I'm trying to play heel, but I'm also trying to help other people as well at the same time, boost their careers. Not to mention my lad in the academy. So it's more tweenerish for me at the minute, but you know, we'll see how it plays out. I'm not planning a face turn anytime soon. Main event, Sean O'Savoury defeated CW Longley, which it was a good match. I played the match as O'Savoury. He lost on Heatwave. He needed a win because he's the champion now. He needs to look credible. Longley, I got a win on Heatwave, so it wasn't exactly a dodgy situation. End of the match, Tyler Harris attacked him with the World Heavyweight Championship belt, if you look closely enough. But, you know, it's not that much of a discrepancy, you know. So it didn't bug me that much. Couple of edits as well into the match. I mean, for the most part, I will keep what I've got, just edit out the loading screens and that, but I tend to do edits with music and stuff, because playlists they cut out. And I like to keep the music running until a certain point. So let's see how long we've been going with this. 13 minutes. This is going to be a long one. So that was April week 1. We also found out on Revolution that Tyler Harris would invoke his rematch clause at Anarchy. So 2 matches for Anarchy set so far. The World Tag Team Championship rematch. 2 Dirty Bitches will try and regain the belts from Wilf and Steinmetz, and Tyler Harris will invoke his rematch clause and try and challenge Sean O'Savoury at Anarchy. So we're into week 2 now, and let's see. So, second episode of Heatwave on the Monday. We're in the arena, the pyro explodes, blah blah blah. So we begin with a Roscoe Quinn Desaris promo. Desaris coming out, but Roscoe cutting him off straight away. Says Desaris is delusional, he thinks can just demand control of RCW. Says not going to share control with someone who injured Disco Dave. Disco Dave's off making a movie, by the way. Oh wait, I wasn't cut off. No, sorry, spoiler alert. That's Revolution. Yeah, Roscoe comes out first. Says I must be delusional if I think I can control RCW. I said I injured Dragasan, which I did, but Dragasan ain't crying over it. Got legal right to my 35% stake in the company. If Roscoe isn't happy, he can buy it back. And then, if he wants to buy it back, then I'll just take back all the logo licenses, arena licenses, and entrance music rights I paid for. And, so yeah. Dazaris then mentions that, about Scorpion and Griffin Abels in the #1 contender match, and the fact that last week Paul Haynes and Gary Gibb got a tag team win over them, so surely they should be under consideration for the #1 contender match as well. Which Roscoe is okay on granting, assuming I beat Scorpion and Griffin Abels in a handicap match, which came next, and which I did. I mean, it's rare that I'll do a face majority in a handicap match, because it just defies logic, but in this instance, you know, there's a lot on the line. I didn't mind putting myself against two faces and winning, and because I was doing it for them. Backstage, Haynes and Gibb are celebrating. They're approached by Roscoe, who makes their inclusion official, saying he never overlooked anybody and they deserve their places in the match. Haynes isn't convinced. He just walks away with Gary. Then we get Martin Corby defeating Boshak. Renegade's rematch, the result reversed. Sean O'Savoury's music. He comes out for a promo. I haven't really done much promo work with him. It's only been 8 days since he won the championship, so, you know, this was his first promo. Talks about beating Harris at Uprising and beating Longley last week. He says that Anarchy will be interesting because he'll learn his bloodshed opponent before he beats Harris. Confident words from the champion. O'Savoury wishes Haynes, Gibb, Abels and Scorpion the best of luck, but says the end result will be the same. The RCW champion will still be Sean O'Savoury. Then he mentions that he hasn't forgot about Harris's sneak attack from last week. Then we got another tag team match. I like tag teams. I mean, I'm not Teddy Long book a tag team match every weekend and every week in the main event, but I do like my tag team division a lot. I'm a fan of tag team wrestling. Scott Brothers defeated the Two Dirty Bitches, and after the match, Wilf and Steinmetz appear on the screen, goading the Two Dirties about the loss. Wilf says maybe they're facing the wrong team. Steinmetz agrees, saying a match against the Scots would be so much better. Wilf then wonders what part of the UK Wyoming and Louisiana are in, given the Union flags on the two bitches' attires. Steinmetz says it doesn't matter which team they face, where they're from, because they've beaten both teams. And then comes the admission that the quest to destroy Fun failed because they really enjoyed beating down the Two Dirty Bitches at Uprising. And yeah, just a side note, I enjoy beating down Disco Dave. Will says that's the only consolation that they'll take from that. Disco Dave got a movie role, so yeah. Then we're going backstage. This is a bit, you know, promo thing between matches. Backstage, Boshak's pissed. He's looking for Robbie Flash. He finds him and has a go at him for not getting his back. Flash defends himself, saying that Bo told him to stay behind. Bo blames Flash for his loss again, and Flash gets mad, saying Boshak always takes full credit when they win, but none of the blame when they lose. Flash then challenges Martin Corby to a match. One-on-one, no interference. Flash says if he wins, he'll win fair, and if Corby wins, he'll know the better man won. Corby agrees, Boshak gets pissed and walks off. This is why I don't do many of these on video, because scenes like that are hard to find the right scene for in Story Designer. My videos are a hybridization. They're a hybrid between Story Designer and Universe Mode. Sometimes Exhibition if I haven't got enough match slots. And then the main event, Ross Lee beats Tyler Harris, because Harris was distracted by O'Savory doing an imitation of him on stage. Again, another thing that I couldn't really put into video. And then, so, that was Heatwave for that week. Go back to the RCWA, and in April Week 2, tonight, the main event for this RCWA is the RCWA Tag Team Championship match, because the Stevens twins are facing the Disciples, and the Powerhouse wondered when they'd get the rematch, and that's tonight. Out comes Brad Taylor. He's pissed. Go on, my son. Literally. Basically, Brad Taylor's sick of the Syndicate, Chris Partridge and Jay Cassidy always attacking him, and even though Brad keeps winning and beating them, and they just keep coming back, and they keep trying cheap shot after cheap shot after cheap shot. And Brad's sick of it, and he wants to move on to new challenges and not revisit old ones. Which is something that Jimmy Coulter, the RCWA commissioner, agrees with, and basically says to Brad that he'll face Jay Cassidy on the Anarchy pre-show, and unless the Cassidy wins, and no members of the Syndicate will get another shot at Brad's TV championship. Brad chooses Hell in a Cell, which we'll get to later. Doesn't please everybody. So Brad chooses Hell in a Cell match. If Cassidy doesn't win, the Syndicate won't get a shot at the TV title while Brad holds it. The usual thing. Then Brad's told he's facing Rambo Johnson. Then Lance Anderson defeats Robin Jax. It's not a brilliant start for Jax so far, is it? He's lost both his debut matches. Both his first two matches. And backstage again with Tufty Jordan and Jez Clark. A little story about Tufty Gordon. He's someone I used to work with. He was a singer at Fantasy Island. I didn't work with him, but he was there when I was there. I was bar, he was entertainment, he was in charge of entertainment and stuff. He's an old guy, and I made him on the game, but then I had this kind of morbid curiosity as to whether or not he was still alive, so I held off using him until my mate Wilf, he basically Googled Tufty Gordon. It turns out he's still alive and well, so yeah, good to go. Tufty and Jez won an RCWA title shot against TJ based on his victory last week, interrupted by the Syndicate. Rex Wesley warns Tufty and Jez not to interfere in his plans. Tufty reminds Rex that Jez beat TJ, which is something that Rex has failed to do. And then Rex wants his rematch, but Jez did beat the champion. So next week's main event on RCWA is Rex Wesley against TJ Gospel for the RCWA Championship, and then he'll decide what to do at the Anarchy pre-show, which is something Rex is pleased with. Cassidy tries to get out of the Hell in a Cell, but Coulter just cuts him off, saying it's happening. Then he goes. Dwayne Huntley defeated Nick Blueberry. Dwayne Huntley, the one who's ridiculously over with the Chavo Guerrero entrance. I'm glad he won, because I've got plans for Huntley based on his popularity with the crowd. Bit of a backstage thing between the Powerhouse and the Disciples. Jacob Black, Seth Ronson, Rufio Scorn. Steven twins walk in saying that, tonight's results are irrelevant, they might as well hand the tag titles over to them. Then they nervously leave because they're being glared at, that whole thing, times 4. And then, basically Scorn and Rufio say may the best men win. and then there's a reluctant handshake there. Then it comes to Brad Taylor against Rambo Johnson. Brad Taylor won, and then afterwards Jay Cassidy attacked him during his entrance, and then came out again with Rex after the match, taunting him. Something tells me it won't be the last shot. Well, it will be the last shot, but something tells me they won't leave him alone. And we come to the main event, the RCWA Tag Team Championship match, which was a successful defense for the Disciples, Scorn and Rufio. It was a decent tag team match, you know, pretty much like their Uprising pre-show tag team win. No dirty tactics though, as well. The Uprising one didn't have any dirty tactics, I don't think. Then we come to Renegades. And so we open with a bit of talk about Martin Corby Robbie Flash match, and that is the main event. And then Wong McDonald and Betty teaming up to defeat Hardcore Howie and Christian Fox, their singles opponents from Heatwave. And I don't think I'll keep Wong and Betty as a full-on tag team, but they're on the same side as Paul Haynes and stuff. Speaking of, Paul Haynes and Gary Gibb are backstage trying to get Richard Parrish and Omega on side. The megastars are reluctant, considering they've already had more TV time due to Heatwave and stuff. But Paul brings up that Desirous managed to get Gibb and Haynes into the #1 contender match at Anarchy, and he'd probably do what he could to make sure everybody gets an opportunity, which is true. I'll make sure people get chances if I come into Power, but, you know, they're going to have to earn them. And then Combat Matt defeated Arnie Sharp. After the match, Combat Matt grabbed a mic. Combat Matt isn't happy about Brad taking the Hell in a Cell match on the Anarchy pre-show. Tell you what, Combat Matt is based on Carl, a guy I know. Carl is actually Bradley's grandfather. His step-granddad, you know. It hasn't been alluded to in RCW yet, but he is. And basically Combat says that Brad's choosing these dangerous matches and stuff because of me, because Brad's always looking up to me and stuff like that. Truth is, Desirous isn't happy about Brad being in the Hell in a Cell match either. Desirous has had plenty of Hell in a Cell matches. Not in RCW, but he's had plenty before, and he knows the risks. Desirous doesn't want his son putting his career and his life on the line, so he'll do whatever he can to protect his son. Desirous then says he'll be going to RCWA next week, and invites Combat Matt along with him. So those two will be going to RCWA to try and talk Brad out of it, apparently. Combat goes to leave, but then I pull him in and plant him with a Desirous driver, because, you know, heel. And standing over his body, over Combat Matt, laying on the canvas. This has gone way beyond the hardcore title. It's even gone beyond personal. I don't know how it can go beyond personal, to be honest with you, but it just seemed like a cool thing to say. The main event of Renegade saw Robbie Flash defeat Martin Corby. After the match, Boshak tried to attack Corby, but Flash made the save. And we come to Revolution. This is the bit where I come out and I'm cut off immediately. Sorry. Roscoe, basically, in a nutshell, Roscoe says his lawyers have advised him to either relinquish 35% control or buy back my assets. So Roscoe presents me with a check. And I accept the check. But Desirous then leaves. And he says to a bunch of other guys, we're leaving. People that leave with Desirous are Wilf, Dragasan, Steinemetz, Paul Haynes, Gary Gibb, Wong McDonald, Jared and Landon Scott, Richard Parrish, Omega, and Betty. They all leave the arena. And then Roscoe, pretty shocked, has to amend tonight's schedule, announcing Christian Fox versus Ross Lee as the opening contest. Christian Fox picking up a win over the Intercontinental Champion Ross Lee. CW Longley interfered, distracting the ref when Ross had Fox down. After the match, Fox and Longley beat down Ross. Longley grabs a mic and informs everyone that he'll be having his rematch at Anarchy. Third Anarchy match so far. Fourth, sorry. He'll be having his rematch at Anarchy in a 2 out of 3 falls match. Longley then kicks Ross out of the ring and demands his opponent. His opponent is Brent Kitching, who defeated CW Longley. Because during the match Ross recovered and hit a Ross bottom on Longley while Fox had the ref distracted. Basically Ross was still down at ringside, but he recovered during the match. Longley might have took his eye off him while Ross was recovering. Again, it's one of those things I can't film. So we go backstage. There's another Boshak and Flash argument. Boshak's calling Flash a traitor, while Flash argues that he's tired of cheating and wants to do things the right way. Corby walks up and tells Flash that Roscoe wants Corby to find a partner for his match against Scorpion and Griffin Abels. Corby asks Flash to be his partner. Flash accepts. Scorpion and Griffin Abels defeated Martin Corby and Robbie Flash. I didn't watch the match, I simulated it. I've simulated a lot of these matches and I've had bits in. The explanation I put, Boshak attacked Flash, who fought back. Boshak and Flash fought up the ramp, leaving Corby alone, so it basically became a handicap match. Roscoe Quinn is in his office with Tyler Harris and Sean O'Savory, telling them their match at Anarchy will be a no-holds-barred match. He then tells them that they're teaming up tonight to face the two dirty bitches. Neither man liked this idea, but Roscoe says he's running out of options. Take the check back. Relinquish the 35%. Because I ain't doing this for me. Hard to believe. Anyway, I'll stop cutting promos when I'm going through this shit. Tyler Harris and Sean O'Savory actually managed to work together and win the match. They defeated the two dirty bitches. Afterwards, they celebrated separately before going nose to nose. Harris left the ring as Sean O'Savory continued to celebrate. And that about does it. That's the results. I didn't really mean for this to be half an hour long. But, you know, I had 8 shows to go through there. And it doesn't matter how briefly you make it. There's always going to be stuff. It's going to take a while. But yeah, basically that is the sum of those 2 weeks. We have 4 title matches confirmed. Yep, and another match confirmed. But that might be on a couple of these few of these matches might actually be on edge right now. The only 2 that are set in stone are the RCW Championship match, which is a no-holds-barred match. Sean O'Savory makes his first title defense against Tyler Harris, and the 2 out of 3 falls match between Ross Lee, the Intercontinental Champion, defending against former champion CW Longley. The other matches scheduled are the number 1 contenders match for Bloodshed, which is meant to have Griffin Abels, Scorpion, Paul Haynes and Gary Gibb, but Haynes and Gibb walked out. Tag Team Championship match, the Blood Brothers, Wilf and Steinmetz against Two Dirty Bitches, Dirty Dino and Richard's Two Bitches. Wilf and Steinmetz walked out. The Hardcore Championship match, Desaris against Combat Matt. Desaris led the walkout. So, 3 of those matches are up in the air. Out of the 5 we've got so far. Basically, you know, we are on the road to Anarchy, and it's been anything but peaceful lately. I'll be back with another one once I've done another couple of weeks. Before the pay-per-view, I used to do pay-per-view previews on my Facebook page. I didn't do one for Uprising because it was all on video. So I'll probably do the pay-per-view preview on here, and then I'll be back after Anarchy for a review of the show, and then, you know, 2 game weeks after that. Depending on how quick I do this, these could all be done tomorrow. I doubt they will, but, you know, that's basically it for now. That's the rundown of the last 2 game weeks of RCW. And I hope I haven't bored you. If you're wondering why Excuse me. I haven't been looking into the camera, it's because I've been reading things as well. I've got a good memory, but not that good. Anyway, this is Desirous out. I will see you next time.